How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Wolves for another match preview today. We're going to be previewing Wolves versus Watford, a very rare Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff. I say that, but we did have one a couple of weeks ago against Chelsea. My name's Dave. Alongside me today, I've got Matt. Matt, how's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm alright, thanks, Matt.
Good. Well, it's going to be a very interesting game this weekend as Wolves take on Watford. Of course, we played Palace last weekend. We've had the midweek game against Reading, as have most of the Premier League teams anyway. But before we kick off, make sure you go and check out our channel partners over at OneFootball, a cracking football app. As always, they're our channel partners, so you can check them out in the top of the description down below. It's a really good football app to check out your live news, your live football scores, your transfer rumours. You can select Wolves or whichever football team is your favourite team at startup, and you'll get all the push notifications catered to that as well. So be sure to check that out. As I say, link in the description down below. And Matt, I know you didn't go yesterday to that game against Reading, but Wolves managed to rest the majority of the first team squad, despite, we still managed to get through to the next round. How important do you think that could be come Saturday, that we've allowed rest for these big players for the big game against Watford?
I think we didn't really have a choice, to be honest, but to rest him, especially Raul. I'm concerned he's not going to have any legs left by Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was good. Obviously, didn't go to the game because I was away on holiday, so not a true fan, but by no means a plastic. It was good to obviously see some players rested and give the younger crop of players a chance to impress. But by all accounts, apart from maybe Bruno Jourdau, they didn't really impress as much as we'd want them to have.
Yeah, I agree. First half, obviously, you guys can watch the review if you want a more in-depth. First half was good for me for Wolves. As you say, Jourdau was good, but second half was poor. Defence did what it needed to do as such. Surprisingly, Bennett was pretty solid in that middle role. I think a lot of people were cursing at that when the team liner got released, but some of the balls he pinged out were fantastic, and I fully expect him to be back in the team on or come Saturday, definitely, or maybe.
I've seen someone make a good point on Twitter, and obviously, I'm not Bennett's biggest fan by any stretch of imagination, but in that role, obviously the sweeper role, you get a lot more time on the ball. Someone said if Cody would have been playing in Bennett's position, he would have made as many mistakes because that right centre half position and left centre half position, they get pressed a lot more.
Yeah.
Than the actual sweeper, because obviously just naturally it's further down the pitch. But I think that's a very good point, and obviously Bennett was by all accounts pinging loads of balls around. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cody keeps playing the way he does to see Bennett in there. But then again,
Definitely
Bennett hasn't been great, so he could be dropped, and then Vallejo it hasn't really impressed at all. So it does concern me, that centre back position, three centre half positions. But yeah, I think that was a good point though about Bennett and Coda.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about the lineup shortly, but of course the game against Watford is 19th versus 20th in terms of league position. Both sides, after you could say a pretty good season, Wolves managing to finish 7th and get European football. Watford in the end slid down the table a little bit, but still got their FA Cup final. But I'm sure Watford fans, we won't talk about that, don't worry. But both sides who probably had big ambitions of some top half finishes this season will be pretty disappointed to be where they are at the moment. The bottom three are Villa, Wolves and Watford. Watford with just 2 points so far this season. A late drama against Arsenal to grab a draw, and a draw against Newcastle. They have some tough fixtures. Lost out to Everton, lost out to West Ham, and of course their most recent game, a disastrous 8-0 defeat to Manchester City. I mean, Matt, I'm sure plenty of us have seen the goals and highlights from that game. City were good, but how bad were Watford defensively in that match?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching it in the pub in Mallorca, and the first goal went in, and I was like, oh, bloody hell, look, Watford are losing already, and it just, I thought there was something wrong with the stream, because it just kept going and going and going and going, and Watford had literally no answers. They did have a good chance though, 1-0 I believe.
Yeah, Delafeu.
Or maybe 2-0, and it was a good save by Ederson, and again, if that goes in, it may be a different game, similar to how the FA Cup final panned out with Pereira going close, 1-0 or even 0-0 if I can remember correctly, and then it was 6-0 in the cup final?
Yep.
So, just 6-0 I think, something like that. I can't remember what would be 6. But yeah, again, it could have changed the game, but they were dreadful, but that really concerns me because those Watford players are going to have a point to prove. It's going to be against us.
Yeah, well, I think someone rightly put a stat about the last time we played a team. It was Birmingham. They got knocked 8 past when they were in the Championship against Bournemouth. They played us the next game and it was a 0-0 draw, which is odds law really. But it'll be, Watford will be up for this. Obviously, they are under new management. Sanchez Flores has struggled so far, and he's got a great draw against Arsenal, though, to be fair. They really took advantage of Arsenal's mishaps at the back. I think they'll be satisfied as well. Midweek, they played Swansea City in the Carabao Cup. Swansea, who have actually started off life in the Championship quite positively. They're second at the moment, and Watford was still allowed to rotate some of their players. Still started a pretty strong team. Danny Welbeck, Andre Gray, Pereira, Decore played in there, but they managed to squeeze past them and won 2-1 in the end, getting some big minutes for some players. But I think Watford's problem at the moment is, well, defensively and going forward, quite similar to Wolves, I suppose, in the fact that if you look at their team at the moment, it's just the 4 goals in their first 5 games. And in 2 of those games, they've fired blanks as well. Let's go back to Wolves, Matt. What do Wolves need to do differently than what they've done in the last 2 games or 3 games where we haven't won the games? What do we have to do differently to try and get a result against Watford on Saturday?
Start well.
Yeah.
Start with urgency. Start with tempo. Move the ball around quicker. Close those gaps between midfield and attack. Not be complacent on the ball. So not much really.
Not asking a lot.
And just don't be afraid to express yourself as a player, because it strikes me in the past 2 games we've kind of been like cats in headlights, and I know that's probably down to the crowd and the murmurs that go around, but professional football is a high pressure environment, and if you can't cut it, it's not for you. So if we need to start on the front foot, if we can get an early goal, fantastic. But I think aren't we the only side in all four tiers of English football that haven't,
and all European top leagues
that haven't
taken
scored the first goal? Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So
it's just madness, But we're still scoring goals, which is, again, it's a strange one, and I probably would change the shape again and go to something similar at Palace, because the first half against Palace, from what I could see,
with the wingers, I think we should.
It looked a bit more fluid, those 1 or 2 touch passes in and around the box and creating chances. I know we went close a few times, so it was better, and I think the way that we drew the game would have been a bit of a morale boost should we have not beaten Reading at the week, which again is a disappointing draw with Frudo. But I don't know, it just felt a little bit different at the end. Like I was gutted. Like we first half played really well against Palace. Second half we were rubbish, but I was like, it's another loss. Like where's the next wing gonna come from?
Yeah.
And then obviously we got the point from a stupendous Adama cross. So it did feel like a win. That might have been to do with the copious amounts of San Miguel I drunk. But I don't know. They need to start with a bit of urgency and zip that ball around like they did last season. It's pretty much the same team. So I don't know what's gone wrong. I don't know if because Nuno's setting us out to be so defensive, with Neves dropping back so deep. It's like we're not hurting teams anymore.
Yeah.
And teams are just playing around us. And then Donker's having a stinker of a season. But then again, who do we bring in? The squad that's so thin, it's giving Nuno a headache. Whether he wanted the small squad or whether it was just him trying to, cover up for the recruitment's mistakes, I don't know, but that's something for an whole different video.
Yeah. Well, although I'd love to see us sort of play with that 5-2-3, which we started against Palace, I believe Watford were one of the teams that really decapitated that formation last year.
Yeah.
We were shocking against Watford.
They're the ones who found us out first. I'd say so. With Decore and Capu, that
was it. Yeah.
That pivot there in the middle, they were fantastic, and we were screaming out for a big snotter of a midfielder, which we brought Dendoncker in eventually. But like I said, he's played really poorly this season.
I'll possibly bring Sace in for Dendoncker on Saturday. We will talk about the lineup a little bit more in a sec, but. This is an interesting start. I've said about Watford really struggling to score goals. Watford have mustered the 4th highest amount of shots among Premier League teams this season. They've had 91 shots and have the 9th highest expected goals total. However, no side has scored fewer goals than them, and they've got the lowest conversion rate with just 4% in the division. Of course, that sort of bodes well for us in our defensive mishaps at the moment. But you can certainly say they're going to have probably 3 shots and score three goals on Saturday anyway.
I think they miss Deeney a lot as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Friend of the show. I think they miss Deeney a lot. Does get. I'm not saying anything more about Deeney. I think a lot of what they do goes through him. He's so integral to how they play, and then you've got players coming off from like De La Feu and Pereira, and I believe they bought Sarr in the summer. And they've got that front three is enough to trouble anyone really. Especially De La Feu. I've always been a big fan of him. I think he's brilliant. Maybe it's slightly inconsistent why he's not at a top team, but as we saw in the semi-final, they're a team who can hurt defences. So we need to be at our best defensively, and need to drastically improve because the defensive season has been nothing short of a shambles. But I'm still remaining fairly positive, and I know that's not really how I normally think, as you'll vouch me on that, Dave.
Yeah.
How negative I normally am, but we don't just become a bad side overnight. I think if we lose this game, we're not going to get anything from City. Then I'll be like, you know what?
That'll be the second international break in the season. We still won't have a win. That's worrying times, and obviously we will be bottom of the league because Watford will overtake us, and
the board won't stick around with Nuno. I hate to say it, but they won't. They're ruthless. They've got so far in business by having that ruthless nature. We've seen the same with like Kenny Jackett, Lambert, Zenga. They're ruthless, and that's what makes them so successful, and they've got no time for sentiment. So unless Nuno changes it around, and I'm afraid he's going to get the chop. So, but I've got faith in him. This is where he earns his corn as a tactician for me.
Yeah, well, he's got a little bit of pressure on us to get a result against Watford. We're going to go over to the thoughts of the Watford fan, Andy, now. He sent us his quick thoughts on the game, what we can expect from Watford, and what he reckons the score is going to be.
Hi there guys, Andy Lewis here from the Hornet's Nest and host of the Stairway to 7th podcast. Now you don't need me to tell you that Watford's start to the season has been absolutely miserable, one of the worst starts to the season I can recall in my time as a Watford fan, sitting rock bottom of the Premier League with just 2 points from our opening 6 games with a goal difference of -14 after that 8-0 drubbing away at Manchester City last weekend. I honestly thought my phone was broken with the amount of goal notifications I was getting through. That defeat left me feeling, in all honesty, completely embarrassed to be a Watford fan. We did, however, get a morale-boosting win against Swansea City in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday night. That should give this squad a little bit of confidence going into now what is a must-not-lose game for Watford on Saturday. I'm expecting a very nervy atmosphere. Obviously, Watford and Wolves having very similar starts to the season, both winless, both desperate to get their season up and running. Despite the results, there have been some improving signs in Watford's form. That second half against Arsenal was phenomenal. If we can replicate that against any side this season, we're guaranteed points. But it's going to be a very difficult task. Quique Sanchez-Flores has got an incredible challenge on his hands to get Watford's defence playing with some solidity. That's the reason he's been brought in. Obviously, Javi went after a run of very poor results, and the defence just not up to standards, and that's why Quique's been brought back. We saw some defensive solidity under him as he kept us in the Premier League in 15-16, so that's why he's been brought in again to try and sort out this defensive crisis. And whilst we have the attacking talents of the likes of Deeney, De La Feu, Ismaila Sarr, new record signing, defence-wise, recruitment just wasn't good enough over the summer, and that's been our downfall thus far. So I'm expecting a very nervy atmosphere. I think both sides will score. I'm going to put my neck on the line and go for a 2-1 Watford win.
Thanks a lot for that, Andy. And as you can, all these links will be down in the description down below. Appreciate that, Matt. We're going to move on to the lineup now. I mean, we've spoke about it a little bit during the preview so far. I think in goal is a given, despite his fantastic save yesterday by John Ruddy, by the way. He actually had a really good performance. I think Patricio is the man. He's going to be in between the sticks.
Patricio this season has been brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the first season it took a while for him to bed in. His distribution's obviously still shit, but I can put there's 3 or 4 games where he's won us a point.
Yeah.
Just through keeping us in games like the Palace. That was poor from Benteke, but he kept us in. He kept us in that game and made some ridiculous saves against Everton. He's probably been my player of the season with maybe
Adama.
Johnny or Adama. If your keeper's a player of the season, you know you're doing something wrong there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Patricio for me.
Patricio in goal. So back three. Let's say Cody.
Literally, you pick names out of a hat.
Yeah, Cody's a cert. Yeah. Bolly's a
Do you
cert.
think?
I think he is, yeah. Cody, he won't drop Cody in the league. Cody and Bolly is a cert. And
I think Bennett. I think Bennett will come in.
Yeah.
I know you could say he was at fault for the Reading goal. That's probably nitpicking. But
oh mate,
like
the amount of pressure they were putting on. I haven't looked back at it, to be honest. I know a couple of people were moaning about it, but other than that, I think he was good on.
Well, if I trust your judgment, if he's played well.
I've got good judgment.
I do trust your judgment. Funnily enough, then he's got to slot back in. Obviously, Sace getting sent off.
Do you think if he's not in on and Sace comes back in again on Saturday and Bennett's not in, do you think there has been a problem there between him and Nuno?
Yeah, absolutely. I think whether Bennett or Sace comes in or whoever, I think there was something after the Everton game by all accounts where Bennett may have questioned Nuno. I mean, any other player.
I think it will be obvious if he doesn't come in on or he's not in the squad at all on Saturday. But I mean,
yeah, I know Nuno on about profiles and whatever it was, but he's not going to come out and say me and Bennett have had a barney, is he? So it's just a bit of a smoke screen. But to be honest, I played Bennett because Vallejo looks.
Yeah, I was about to say it's the one name we haven't mentioned, Vallejo.
Yeah, he looks dreadful, to be honest. Like, don't like to write players off.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because he was so. I mean, a lot of fans were so excited for that move. He was a really highly touted and highly hyped player. Been at Real Madrid, always done okay there, and had a decent stint at was it Eintracht Frankfurt as well. So it's a shame really that he's. I know, it does take sometimes a little bit to adjust, but even yesterday at times he did look a little bit sloppy. But we'll move on for the back three. We're imagining maybe Bolly, Cody and Bennett. Yeah. Left wing back, I'd assume Johnny comes back in. I think we can both agree on that. Right wing back, does Adama get the nod or does Doc start again? Or depends does it depend what shape? Yeah.
Yeah, depends what shape. I think maybe to neutralise the threat of De La Feu / Pereira, maybe Doc's the best option. Yep. Obviously, question marks over Adama's defensive capabilities, although he has been much improved and would kill me for him to be dropped. But I think Doc would probably be the best fit, and I think Doc looks better with Bennett and vice versa. So I'd play Doc, and then but I'd also go to a 2-3, with midfield 2 and a front 3, and then obviously if it's not working, change it. But
this is the thing. I've said predict the lineup, and we don't even know now. We don't know which shape we're gonna go with. I spoke. Well, he went with the 5-3-2 yesterday. At times it did work. It's a shame to see, obviously, Bruno Jordao injured because, believe it or not, I reckon he could have been in with a possible shout of being just in the squad on Saturday. But obviously it looks unlikely now. So if we're going with a midfield 3. Who do you go for? Neves, Moutinho. You got Sace back in the question.
I'd say Sace, Neves, and Moutinho.
Okay, yeah.
I'd leave Dendoncker out because he's been pants, but I think you need to leave him out and make a point.
And if it's a 2, Sace and Moutinho.
Sace and Moutinho.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you on that one.
Because Neves again looks very below par. I don't know what's the matter with him. Like he just seems a lot slower mentally. Like he's not seeing those passes. He's not as fluid as he once was. Looks a little bit jaded, a little bit complacent. But no doubt he's a top player. But I think playing him so deep as well doesn't do many favours for him. I
really hope we do see a rejuvenated performance on Saturday because these players have had a good full week's rest for the first time in God knows how long. So I'm really hoping that we can do that, and we need to get a win on the board as well because with the Aston Villa draw in the cup as well, got 4 away games running: Newcastle, Bratislava, Villa. Obviously the Villa game's not far, but the other two, you got a fair bit of travelling for that. So
yeah, but still, it's still an away game, isn't it? Well, they'll probably still stop in a hotel the night before and stuff.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, but I'm thinking in terms of getting points on the board, Molineux is the best place to do it. So we really do need to try and.
You say that though, but if we're not winning at half time or Watford go a goal up, then it's probably better to be away from home because that crowd will turn. I genuinely think they probably would.
Yeah, it'll be
if it's as dire as it has been. But
Well, let's move on to move on to the
yeah.
forward line.
Jota and Jimenez. It's got to be.
Jota and Jimenez for two strikers.
You got to go full strength. You need a win.
And then if it's free, Adama, Jota, Jimenez again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jota getting that goal. We saw it with Chelsea last season. He was pretty vacant for 2 or 3 months, and he got that goal against Chelsea, and he was arguably our best player since then. So hopefully he's very much a confidence player. So hopefully he's got that goal, and we'll see the best Jota that we saw last season, because he's unplayable on his day.
We need to get them two closer together, Jimenez and Jota, because that's where the link-up play came from last year. And then this year, I think Jimenez is coming a bit deep. They're not quite having the support behind him. As I've said plenty of times before, the gap between the midfield and the attack is too much. So, but let us know your thoughts for that lineup in the comment section down below. Matt, we'll move on to the hard bit now. Score prediction, and put your neck on the line and let us know what you reckon the score is going to be on Saturday.
I think 2-0 Wolves.
Clean sheet as well, yeah?
Yeah, I think if we get a goal within the first half hour, it'll relieve so much tension around the ground for both supporters and
The
players.
atmosphere will be electric.
I think players will feel a little bit more comfortable, and then maybe hit Watford again whilst they're pressing for an equaliser. That's what I'm hoping for in a perfect world. But I just hope we can get on the front foot, get the fans behind them, because it does make a difference to the players.
Yeah. I'll go 2-1. I'd love to see us keep a clean sheet, but I'm going to go... I think 2-1's been my go-to prediction this year. But Matt, thanks a lot for jumping on today. Guys, as always, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who do you reckon should start? What do you reckon about any of our thoughts today? And obviously a score prediction as well. Be sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and you haven't already. And of course, all the post-match content will be released once the game against Watford has finished. Hopefully we can grab our first win of the season and possibly even take the lead in a match for the first time. Until next time, guys, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all very, very soon.